Part 3 to the Illuminati. Yes, we're coming out. We are coming out. Part 3 to the Illuminati. Let me explain convex and concave light bending. This has everything to do with angles, and angles are angels. You understand? You just moving the L around, moving the L around. What does that mean? To move the sense of God around. Do you want the God closer to the G? Because if you have it that way, it's an angle. But if the L is further down, ELS at the end of angels or angel, you have L at the end. So L is the omega. So the angle is sacredly geometrical. And you look at life like, here's how it goes. All of the different degrees that go between the zodiacal signs are the degrees to which, like, each sign of each person, like, minutes, seconds, all of that, the recording of where the sky's position was, the stars, all of that, and then some. Well, all of these are what are called degrees. And so for every little second that ticks, for anyone that's born, that's a particular degree. So for all of those degrees, right? And even the ones that we can't fathom, these are different angles of us looking at ourselves. So our earth, our sky, this medium that we see or that we don't see, that's called dark matter, that subsides in all that we see and cannot see. This is the mirror, but it's not reflecting anything back to us physically per se, where the power is located. That's where the evidence of the gratitude is, the physical feedback that our physical eyes take in, what we physically see. That's the physical gratitude feedback loop. So that's on the house for a vibrational boost, what your five senses take in. Don't look at your flesh like the enemy. Your flesh is a reason maker for gratitude. Anything that your flesh sees, touch, taste, hears, smells, all of these are things to be grateful for. So you're a walking bundle of 5 different reasons to be thankful 24/7 because you got 5 senses. So when you're bending light, you look at the idea of, in a carnival, where do they usually have all of the mirrors placed, and what do they usually call that building? A fun house. A fun house. Is this supposed to be super duper serious and depressing? Is it supposed to be? Apparently not. If we're in a room full of mirrors, if this is a sphere, a dome full of mirrors, if we're in a room full of mirrors, a construct full of mirrors, holograms, mirrors, digital shivers, right? Nano fibrastic slits cutting wormholes through time and space. Philadelphia experiment multiplied by 1,000, gone haywire like an explosion at Homer's nuclear power plant. The bending of light. So these are all different angels, these different angles, they're different personas, archetypes. And you say, well, what does that mean for me? Well, it means that when you look at a person, you understand what all of these different signs, because everybody falls under signs. So if you're studying all of the signs, you're studying at least, if not everybody, then all of the psyches that exist in a person, or at least enough psyches to have a pretty decent framework, a better than decent framework in your dealings with people on the day to day. So even if you didn't want to take all of this astrological stuff for a pure power paradigm, on a psychological paradigm, you could say, well, you know what? The average person thinks in at least 12 ways. And within those 12 ways, there's 3 parts to each sign. So what is that? 36, 12 times 3. So a person has what, 36 parts to the human psyche? So there you have it. 36 parts to the human psyche. 12 times 3? What is 1 plus 2? 3. The Trinity times 3. What is 3 times 3? It's 9. The psychic, the master teacher, the mind bender, the air bender, the element bender, the avatar, the monad, the yogi, the Buddha, the Christ, the Christos, the Logos, right? The all, the nameless. So you're tapping into this when you're understanding all of these different degrees, because in the categorization of this, you have everybody. We were all born at a day and a time. So as long as that's true, then things about us were studied and researched for thousands of years that will give us a better understanding on some of our quirks, or some of the things that make us all quirk. So you're looking at these different angles, and how do you find your way out of the funhouse unless you look at the mirrors? If you close your eyes, you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to run into a wall, because the mirrors are also the walls. Full length mirror, full body mirror. This is not just a cropped selfie. Life is not a cropped selfie. That's not what life is. Life is a full body mirror. It's a fun house. You're seeing yourself at different shapes, different sizes, different times, different stages of your life, different salary levels. You're seeing yourself at different stages of growth, different stages of maturity, dealing with different gains, different losses. All of these are different mirrors and degrees also. But you're also looking at the person down the street. You're looking at your classmates. You're looking at your coworkers. All of these are different degrees of you. You're looking at the teachers. You're looking at the principals. You're looking at your parents. You're looking at your aunts and uncles. You're looking at your grandparents if they're around. You're looking at photo albums and pictures of your great grandparents and all of this. All of these are different degrees of you. Different angles, different degrees, different angles, different angels, different thought forms. What did God tell Moses? He didn't just say, I'm God. He said, I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He always said, I'm the God of what? Of your ancestors. So as God, I'm showing up as your ancestors, in the love of your ancestors, in the power, authority, in the absolution, in the most purified form of your ancestors, because this is who the all will show up as, to relate to different cultures and relate to different people. Because remember, ultimately what God is everything to everyone. When you deal with the what, we're still talking about illumination, true illumination. When you're dealing with the what that God is, that's when you arrive at peace, because you're dealing with more curiosity and more research. And with that is more empowerment, more improvement, more expansion. If you're dealing with where God is and who he is and what his name is, you're going to get what we have in history so far. Wars, one religion saying what we have is the truth and everybody else is a lie, and the other group saying something similar. No, what we have is the truth. And there's bloodshed over the name of a person who created us in peace. Should not be so. I mean, because what that's saying is we're going to spill blood in the name of peace. Right. Sounds contradictory, right? Right. So these kind of things deal with when we don't take time to understand the different degrees to who we all are. And we don't put any time into being observant of how people are, being empathetic, really caring, really, and you can't even fake it. People really have to matter to you, because that's going to open up a whole nother field of wisdom that's going to come from the heart center. That's a whole nother level of intelligence. No one can explain that or really manifest that better than the female can. So Ask, ask your lady about that. They automatically have it, and it's on the house too. Just being the female, heart intelligence is a beautiful thing. uh Brothers, fellas, when you get it, you're a force to be reckoned with, just to even lightly grasp the concept. So let me put the other part of there, because you're saying, you can't say angels without demons, right? Well, let's go back to the original meaning for demon. Daimon, diamond. So both a convex and a concave mirror. When it comes to bending light, you get a diamond. So what is that? Angel times two, fully expanded. Both personas. Not just not just the God of your ancestors, but the God of you also. Both sides to the story. The diamond. The one that has to deal with the villainy yet still exists. Has to deal with uh maybe having their names written wrong. What do they call them? The fallen ones. Even have a city named after them, Los Angeles. The angels, the fallen ones. That's who they're talking about. The fallen ones. And they're talking about the same ones from the time of Babel too. Because when you look at Hollywood, Holly Leaf, the Holly King was Nimrod. And in that time and during that time, Nimrod is from those of renown, who was the result of what? The sons of God who came in unto the daughters of man. Isn't that what the King James Consortium wrote? So if you're combining all of this information together, you're getting angles that collide. And this is what you get as a demon or diamond. You're getting a hybrid. And when you're bending light, like two different forms of light, what you're getting is a cross image. So now you have two accounts of a story. You can have what is called the Gospels. This account was different from that account was different. We all said we was there, or we know somebody who said they was there, or somebody comes around 100 years later and says, yeah, my friend's homie's friend's sister's nephew's brother was there, and he said this is what happened. You know what I mean? When angles collide, when angels collide, you get that diamond or demon effect. Now, this is going to be higher divine science. You understand? I'm not speaking theological when I use these archetypes. I'm speaking of another more so thought system or school of thought that existed long before religion. So that's why I'm categorizing them like this, in the bending of light and just understanding the degrees to what makes what. Because all of this is alchemy at the end of the day. It's person to person mental alchemy. Whether you're dealing with just the different thoughts or the different people or different personas, is all the same. It's like dealing with it's like having either binoculars or a telescope though. If you're just looking at the persona, like this type of person, Sagittarius they're all like this, and Capricorn is all like this. That's personas. You might be at least looking at things with binoculars just to say something like that, just to at least get a grasp toward categorization. But this is going to come across as crass, you understand, just to come out like that. But to look at this thing with a telescope is to say each person was born at a different time, and regardless of what time a person was born on, you know that the psyche of each human is going to be affected differently on each day. So you know that each day, every second of each day, every second of each night is a different mentality. So that's a different angle. And when any of these angles clash, you get that hybrid effect. So you know that for as long as there is time and as long as there is a now, there is room for differentiated thought. So with this comes all of the angles. This isn't supposed to overwhelm you. This just means that you're living in the sea of limitless potential. And we just talked about that on multiple levels. That's what true illumination is. Not just shining in the sky, but shining all the way down to the earth, through the earth, into the core of the earth, through the sea, all of that. Shining all the way through, right? It doesn't say let your light shine, let your light so shine. That puts emphasis on the shine, which is another way of saying very in the old English. Let your light so shine means let your light shine brightly, vigorously, intensely. Let your light so shine. Let your light shine very brightly. So very. So this is illumination part 3, dealing with the bending of light, and that pretty much covers the casting of shadows too. How if you're facing the light, you appear smaller, but if your back is to the light and you can see your reflection, you look like a giant. Why? Because the light is right behind you, and that's just being supported by knowledge, to the point where knowledge surrounds you, and the shadow of who you are and your reputation, your stature, and everything. This makes you larger than life. When you literally look at your shadow, it looks almost like maybe the length of trees. All of this is light angling. And here you were thinking that you cannot be 16, 17, 18, 19 feet tall. But if you just look at yourself the right way when the shadow hits, you are that tall according to a different angle. That angle is just as real as the angle that you're really standing at. So I just wanted to add that just to keep from doing a part 4. So again, this is Illumination, the Illumination series, Super T Sigma, Sigma programming, reaching is teaching. Vibrate high, people. Peace.